Hello and welcome to the Irn-Cru podcast, an American football podcast made in Scotland by NFL lovers. Nailed it this week, Kev. See, I can't get accused of absolute butchering it this week. I've just given the guest away. Our way is myself and Kev Cog, our Eagles fan. Just the two of us tonight, mate, and we'll make it nice and quick and cosy. I am in the host chair again. I'm struggling a bit with the IT side, so you just bear with me. You know, if I've managed to make something and people can hear it, then we'll have done, something right, I guess. Keith can't shout us too much. How are you anyway, mate?
I'm good, mate. I was eagerly anticipating your introduction there to see how you got on this week after last week's shoddy effort. But
Shoddy effort, yeah, bastard. Yeah, I've been practicing the mirror all week. That's the
but
I took
it's
a
good.
beating for Keith.
It's good. It's good to see the Gridiron Crews managed to patch up a couple of members and get us out there. I think every single one of us were questionable or doubtful this week, so just glad that a couple of us have managed to make it on, so we can, like you say, get something out there.
It's just been one of the weeks. Unfortunately, we went to on last night, but just with me, it's been the run up to Halloween and stuff like that, getting my boys kind of sorted for that, carving pumpkins and just running a bit daft all week. And it's just been one of the things. But we're here because we're not going to let people down. Better late than never. That's what we're all about. So yeah, just the two of us tonight. But we'll make it work. We know our shit. We know what we're doing. But I tell you what, mate, you know where I'm starting? I can't believe it's week 8 already. It's just blink an eye. It's just half the season pretty much gone. And to be honest, I think I'm at a point generally in the season where I'm none the wiser of how this season is going to pan out. The only thing that seems inevitable is Kansas City still up there. But the rest is just up in the air. Like, who'd have thought the Colts are still riding high come the halfway point of the season?
Yeah, I think it's everybody's watching to wait and see if the Colts can keep it up. There's a few surprise packages in there, but like you say, Kansas seem to have got their shit together. They're kind of ominously moving their way up. And I'm pleased to say my Eagles seem to have righted the ship after a couple of ropey results. We seem to be heading in the right direction as well. But it's shaping up to be a really interesting season. Like you say, half it gone already. It just always goes by too quick. But I mean, that is like exactly half the fantasy season gone already, which is sad.
I don't want to talk about fantasy, mate. To be honest, I'm a bit distraught at how my fantasy season's going, and nothing other than it's just been hellish with injuries, which I'm sure we're going to get into with a few players that's happened to this week, and just buys at the wrong time. But I've got faith in my general manager abilities, so we'll see how that rolls on. Right, I think I've managed to get some of this stuff sorted, which I'm pleased to say. Hello to people in Instagram world. My fault, we're a wee bit late, so you've missed the opening banter between Kev and I. It's us two tonight. So anyway, mate, let's crack on because we've got quite a wee bit to get through. What we will do is wee bit the news, or again what I think is the news. You know how I like the kind of soap opera of but no, let's start with injuries. So first up, Carson Wentz, he's getting placed in IR. He needs surgery to fix a torn labrum and fractured shoulder socket, and that's in his left shoulder. Apparently happened in week 5 against the Browns in London, and they just kept on forcing him out there and just to get beat up and battered to the point that he's a broken mess. Where'd the Vikings go for here? What do you make of that one?
Well, firstly, fair play to Carson Wentz, going out there with what sounds like a couple of really nasty injuries. I think most Vikings fans have been a bit tough on him. Like they don't want him to be starting for them, and when you find out that that's what he's been playing through, then I think it's a bit unfair. But at the same time, what's that? They just hate gingers, I don't know. Is JJ ready to come back in?
Well, was he ever not ready? Some could a benching, they kind of like, ooh, this boy's not ready yet. But
Yeah.
so what happens there, I guess we'll find out. I guess the future is a wee bit uncertain for Carson Wentz still going forward. And obviously this season's dusted for him, but what's his future like going forward? Is he still going to bounce about teams, pick up that backup quarterback position, or is that him on the scrap heap for the foreseeable? But it's just unfortunate for him, I guess, because they won that game in London against the Browns, and then also went back-to-back defeats. It's a tough one, a sore one. And I was kind of picking up this week with, I think he was getting a bit of stick from some of the commentators that are basically telling me he should toughen up. I don't think I could do much. I'm bad enough with an ingrown toenail, never mind a torn labrum. I don't even know what a labrum is, and it sounds sore to tear
neither, but it does sound bad, doesn't it? Like I said, I think that a few Vikings fans might realise that they were being a bit unfair on him when they realise he's been playing with those injuries. But this is maybe something we can come back to at the deadline part, the trade deadline part of the show later. Maybe they'll be looking to bring somebody in.
Spoilers, man, you're giving away our secrets of where we're going, but that is correct. We'll be looking at some of the trades coming up. Obviously, the trade deadline is on Tuesday, the 4th of November, so there's a lot of build-up, and I'll be turning on my notifications sort of this week for that one. Right, another injury, which is unfortunate, and is the name of our the title for our podcast this week. Cam Skatteb-Ouch, the madman, the lunatic, the Tasmanian devil for the New York Giants, basically just ripped his ankle off, and I was dangling about. That was gnarly as hell, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a shame to see. I mean, everybody's been saying since pretty much week one that that guy isn't going to last if he keeps playing the style he's playing. It's just ironic that it wasn't the type of injury that people thought he was going to pick up. He's picked that one up as a receiver trying to catch a pass. Just came down awkward on his ankle, and yeah, it's a massive.
No, that's one way of putting it.
Massive blow for the Giants as well, though. They've been really fun to watch. He's been a massive part of that. The chemistry with him and Dart as well. So, that's a big story for this week. Obviously, it happened against the Eagles. I was watching, and as much as obviously I want the Eagles to win, you never like to see a young footballer get such a bad injury.
Yeah, it looks a sort of one. I was kind of heard today it's not just a dislocated ankle. I think he fractured his fibula as well and ruptured some ligaments in there. Apparently it's meant to be pretty clean though, a pretty clean injury, and he should be back in sort of 46 sort of months or something like that. I think they said obviously season's done. But it's just the impact, as a running back, how's that impact you going forward? Do you still have the confidence if you're going up for those contested catches again, and landing heavily on it? It'll be interesting to see. But to me, he seems like the type of character who's got it in him, not to let that phase him, and he's got to come marching back 100 miles an hour. As I say, I kind of come down like the Tasmanian devil sort of thing. He's just that sort of on a total rampage. I think he'll be back stronger as ever, to be honest, next year.
He seems fearless, doesn't he? And he comes across as the sort of guy that's not going to let that put him off. And like they've got the best surgeons, access to all the best healthcare. I'm sure, he'll come back for it. And, you've seen it before, like soccer players breaking legs, the questions being asked. And, Henrik Larsson had that really bad one many, many years ago. And he came back and said like his leg felt stronger than ever. So fingers crossed, Cam can come back and entertain us all again next season. I've stashed him in my IR in my Dynasty League for now.
Very wise. Another bad injury, Ed Oliver, the Bills defensive tackle. He is out indefinitely with a torn bicep. That sounds sore. That's a massive blow for the Bills. That was an injury they did not need at this point in time. He's such a massive part of that defence for them. It'll be interesting to see how that impacts their, again, trade strategy going forward. That's maybe something we'll look at. Yeah, any thoughts on that one, Kev?
Not really. Just like you say, I mean, obviously they've had a few dodgy results. We were talking about them last week, whether it was a must-win game last week for them. So they don't really need to be losing one of their best defenders at this point in the season. But yeah, like you say, the trade deadline hasn't passed yet. That's the only blessing. So maybe they can get somebody in there to help them out.
Yeah, a couple of bits of news for the Patriots. Marcus Jones extended, which is great news as a Pats fan. Delighted with that. 3 year, $36 million. He's been outstanding on defense and that sort of nickel cornerback, punt return, kickoff return, or punt return mostly, no kickoff return. He's played offensive snaps. He's this month's AFC Defensive Player of the Month. So that's well deserved for him and a big bonus for the Patriots going forward. Myles Garrett, I've kind of put him down as a bit of news this week. He's frustrated about not winning, and he wants to stay a Browns player. I surely knew he was signing up for, but he was kind of asked about the team's inability to create sort of an offense that's conducive to winning, and he said it doesn't get any easier each week you ask me. I would throw the whole performance away for a win. I'm not sure what he thought when, remember the start of the season, he was like, oh, I'm leaving, goodbye, I want to win a Super Bowl, and then went, here's money, and he went, okay, I'll take it. And now he's got, 5 sacks, he was amazing against the Pats, just future Hall of Famer, and now he's getting pissed off that he's in a losing team. I don't know what he expected.
Yeah, like you say, I mean, he was making noises about wanting to go somewhere where he could win. Like you say, money talks. He decided to take that, and then I mean, it must be frustrating though. So for a defender like him, who is getting the defense off the field, putting the offense back out there, keeping opposing defenses out on the field, you've got to expect a wee bit better for your teammates. But like you say, it's a shit show there. It's been a shit show for years on the offensive side of the ball. So they must have known what it was going to be like when they took the money. So,
but he could have literally just done like Micah Parsons and just be like, nah, I'm leaving, I'm done. I'll go and get the money elsewhere. Trust me, there's 31 other teams out there would have given him just as much money as I've got there. I don't understand the mentality, because this franchise is a shit show, like you said. It's not got to get any better, not in the foreseeable. And by that point, he's gone. His prime is away. He's got to be in the back end of his career. Are they able to, I don't know, draft a quarterback and, draft a whole other team and get themselves together? I don't know. I'd move on for the Browns. They just make me depressed anyway as a franchise. But I thought that was worth noting, because you after a 5-sack game, you think, he should be buzzing, but no, he's slamming his helmet on the sidelines.
I mean, it's about more than the quarterback though, Danny, because look at the amount of quarterbacks they've had out there. They've gone back to when they drafted Baker Mayfield. There's just been a conveyor belt of quarterbacks going through there, and then they've had wide receivers who've been successful elsewhere come there, not being able to do much. It's just, I don't know what it is. Change.
Other than a young Baker, though, they've never really had anybody that's been, consistently an NFL quality starter for as long as I can remember, at least over the last sort of 15, 20 years. I'm kind of racking my brains here. You've seen that jersey, the boy who's got all the names listed down, it's just like dead end after dead end after dead end. And so, but it starts there. Every team, regardless, you need a good quarterback in this league to win. That is a fact. You are not. Yeah, okay. You can maybe look at Big Dick Nick and that. Cheated Super Bowl. Not that I'm still better about it, but some of the touchdowns.
No, you're still better.
No, of course not. But that's an anomaly out there, Kev.
Yeah,
But if you are trying to win in this league, it starts with getting a quarterback. I think they've got a really good head coach, but they just need the other pieces running about it, and that's a rebuild. That could take another sort of 5 years, like I said. And Garrett's got to be out his prime at that point. So
yeah.
I've got little sympathies. He's got $45 million a year to kind of dry his tears with. Right, a quarterback change in the NFC South. The Saints have benched Spencer Rattler, and I'm bringing in Tyler Shuck.
So I don't know how you say it. Yeah,
I think I nailed it. I think I've got it.
it was interesting. I mean, they pulled up the stats at the end of the game, and there was absolutely nothing between the two. For the time they were both on the field, very very similar lines. I think they're just trying to get something going on offense, trying whatever they can to try and spark a bit of life, but it didn't seem to make much difference. But maybe the guy deserves a run.
Well,
See.
I think that's my take on it. I think they're kind of they know Rattler's not going forward. There's a very high chance they're going to be picking first or second overall come March, April time, whenever the draft is next year. They just drafted this lad. They might as well give him a run, see what they've got there. At least, they can give him a good 8 games, 9 games, whatever it is. See, is he actually going to be any good? If he is good, great. Here's your franchise quarterback. You can then go and build, look at other areas. They've got plenty of areas. They need talent. Go for it. If not, well, you give him a run. You pass him on. Take the next one. You can go and maybe get your future sort of quarterback in the draft. So that'll be an interesting one to just kind of keep our eyes on and see how he does. I don't remember too much about him kind of coming out in the draft. I think he was reasonably well thought of, but he's still a mid-round pick. I forget where he was, 5th or something like that. So right, what should we do next, mate? Oh, I know. Let's have a look at the games. I'm really not wet tonight. Right? You've just got to get there, baby. Right? This is why we need an adult present to keep this thing going forward, mate. But week 8 is in the bag now, right? So why don't we just have a quick blast through all the games, quick thoughts on it, and then we'll start having a look at what the trades could be coming up. So Thursday night game was Vikings at the Chargers. It finished 37-10 to the Chargers. Now, we highlighted this one last week, saying I thought this was a must-win game for both teams, given where they were. Vikings were, what were they? They were 3-3, I think, at the time. Chargers were 4-3. And I thought both of them needed a kickstart. The Chargers also went in and dominated that one. It wasn't even a contest by the end of it. Any general thoughts on that one, Kev? Did that go as planned, as expected?
Yeah, I can't even remember who we tipped to win. I think we all said the Chargers, but I'm not sure. But yeah, definitely, I think it was a big game for both teams, especially for the Vikings now, knowing what's happened with our quarterback. So I think it's going to be really tough for the Vikings now. Chargers will hope that they can kick on after that one.
Yeah, I think given the news that just kind of come out there, and that Carson Wentz was thrown with one shoulder, it's hardly surprising. So they've got quite a bit of work to do. So we'll maybe touch on Vikings in a wee bit, see what they're looking to do, but maybe their season's over. Who knows? That one. Well, I thought it was must win, so I'm going with that one. Right, let's move on because there's plenty of other games. Right, this one I did not see coming. The Miami Dolphins on the road to the Atlanta Falcons, 34-10 win for the Dolphins. Did you see that one coming, Kev?
Not the manner of the win for the Dolphins, I must say. I think we've talked on here quite a lot about the Falcons and how you never know what you're going to get with the Falcons. There's bags of talent there, but never seem to be able to put it out consistently. So I I wasn't shocked that that Miami managed to get the win, but just how easy the win was. So, fair play to Tua, because there's been a lot of question marks over him. He went into the game with an eye injury, I believe, and he's absolutely balled out. So, well done.
Aye, he did. I was just kind of looking at some of the stats there. Was he 20 26, 205 yards and 4 touchdowns? That's not bad going. And Jalen Waddle, five receptions for 99 yards. Maybe they've got their wide receiver one there. Maybe he actually hangs about a wee bit in Miami. But I guess a good win for them. But you can't help but think it's just a little too late for their season or for any sort of hope. It still looks like it's inevitable for Mike McDaniel there.
Yeah, I would have to agree with that. But then, these guys, these players are still playing for their careers, playing for their futures. So yeah, I like you say, Waddle. I had him in one of my fantasy leagues. I was desperate for him to get one more yard for my bonus point, but
would that made any difference? You still probably lost by about 40.
Maybe so.
I think the bigger story in this one's got to be the Falcons, though, going forward. So, Patriots are playing them this week. I think it's at home for the Pats. I'll need to double check that one. I'm not sure. We'll find out in the last section of the show. We'll run through that one. But, if this season goes a complete bust, because there's a lot of people thinking that, okay, they've got Penix there, they've got Bijan, they've got Drake London, they've still got Kyle Pitts there, they've got they just drafted in the first round 2 edge rushers, starting to build up something here, but they seem an absolute basket case of a team. I'm not entirely sure what to make of them. Don't know what you're going to get from them. I guess they're a team just to kind of track. If they can have a good run in the back end of the season, it might just save some jobs. If not, you could be a bit of a hot bum and a wee bit of a sort of sugary peg, shall we say, for who's their head coach again? Oh, I'm always Raheem Morris. That's the man I was thinking of. So we'll keep an eye on that one. But right,
from a Pats point of view, I mean, I don't know how you feel about playing them at the weekend, but I would be worried, because it wouldn't surprise me after going out and getting absolutely demolished by Miami that they go and beat the 6-2 Pats this week.
We're going to stomp in their guts. I'm not worried about them. We're winning the whole damn thing.
All right, okay.
I'm back in a complete masshole, mate. We had a couple of years in the dark. Now we're unbearable again.
Somebody pick this up.
Right, next game, another shocker. We have no more winless teams. The 0-7 Jets are now 1-7 as they went on the road and beat the Bengals 39-38. Who's seen that coming? The Jets scored 23 fourth quarter points to win this one. Even did you see the Jets sort of winning touchdown? It was that kind of wildcat Brees Hall and that sort of shovel pass. That thing. Just unreal sort of into the game. Fields had, we spoke about it last week, mind after Woody Johnson's comments, basically throwing that lad under a bus. And then what does he do? Walks in, puts up an impressive display. Well, if they're going to go for over 500 total offensive yards, fair play to the lad, because I know I'd have done that. Fuck you, I'm down in tools.
Yeah, it speaks a lot about his character. The fact that after what went on last week, the owner's maybe going to come out and say that that's the reaction he was hoping for. He knew what he was doing. I don't buy that, but no, fair play to Justin Fields. And like you say, a team that's not been able to get a win all season, to win it the way they did, with the running back throwing the winning touchdown to the tight end on National Tight End Day. It was box office. But yeah, I find the Jets strange, because week one I thought they actually looked really decent. I thought, they might have a good year this year, and then it seemed like the wheels just came completely off, and it didn't look like they were going to be able to get a win for anywhere. And then all of a sudden they put on a display like that. So yeah, I think it's all for pride now, though, because their season's well and truly over.
Yeah, bust. I again guess it's it's Aaron Glenn, again, playing for his job. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's these players, this coaching staff. If they can go on a wee bit of a run and get a few more wins and show some signs of progress, then they'll keep about. But if they keep on getting spanked every week, then you've got to imagine it's a one and done for Aaron and Glenn. But it doesn't surprise me that the win came against the Bengals. Again, another team that is just all over the place. This is what I'm pretty sure Mikey was kind of getting to with Joe Flacco. Although they still scored 38 points. It wasn't a bad offensive. But again, it's always the thing we've always said for the last few years with the Bengals, them being lopsided. They go and spend all that money on their offense and their defense is left to rot. So that's what happens. You get scudded by the Jets at home.
Yeah. I mean, if there's maybe like 3 or 4 teams in the league that you wouldn't be surprised if the Jets picked up a win, and the Bengals are certainly one of them.
Yeah. Go on. Pats versus the Browns. Pats at home, 32. Browns 13. I watched this as I was doing some painting and wallpaper. My dab hand, mate. I'm a man of many talents, not just hosting podcasts. I can do it all. Trust me, my painting, my decorating is much better than my hosting abilities, put it that way. But this was it was a bit of a touch game first half. I think Pats were 9-7 up or something like that, and then third quarter 21 points. Like we said, Myles Garrett doesn't matter, 5 sacks. Drake May just keeps on coming back. That boy has no fear. He has the absolute beautiful deep ball we've seen time and time again. This to Keyshawn Boutte in particular. The Pats keep rolling 6-2, and a pretty soft schedule coming up. So we dare but dream.
Yes. Do you know? I think the thing that impresses me most about the Pats right now is how much you can spread the ball around. You've got plenty of options on offense. Boutte, Douglas.
Mike Hollins was getting some digs. Making plays.
It's a very well-rounded offense. I mean, you would argue there's no real superstars in there, but Drake May, he's fast becoming a superstar. The way he's got your offense rolling.
Yeah, I'm very cautious. I do think back to a few years ago when I was starting to think the same about Mac Jones and stuff like that. And,
I remember that.
But the eye test shows that this is an absolute different beast the Patriots have got here. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Obviously, it's been a pretty soft schedule to date, but they're doing what you expect to do, go and beat up bad teams. If there's a bad team and you're winning by the odd point or field goal here and there, that's not sustainable. But they're going to put up 30 points against some of these poor teams. Drake May is continuing to, complete over 75% of his passes downfield. They're mixing up, getting the run game going. So, it's a well-rounded team.
Interesting what you said there about him completing over 75% of his passes. I don't know if it was this weekend or last weekend, but the commentator mentioned that his completion rate was higher than Tom Brady's best ever.
I think it was up there, or for this point in the season. I think Brady in the 2007 season, obviously that undefeated or 18-1 bastard Giants with Randy Moss. I think it was kind of close to that one, but again, it's over so many games. So, to be honest, all I care about has been a Pats fan. I'm enjoying watching them again. The last few years has been tough watching. So I'm just happy I've got a team that are actually interesting again and exciting to watch and make you believe again, because that's what it's about. And that's what we love this game for. It's 32 teams that start off almost.
Is that why your fantasy form's dropped off? You're taking your eye off the ball and enjoying watching your own team too much again?
Hey, look, it's just injuries and stuff, right? It'll come back. There's a long season, still plenty to go. Right, we're going to your Beagles at home against the Giants, as we spoke about. 38-20 win. This one, Kev, you watched it more than me. You take it. Give a quick run through how this game went.
I think after the outstanding passing display the week previous, we switched back to what was so successful last season. We ran the ball. Saquon got 150 yards on the ground. We had a point to prove after the heavy defeat to the Giants a couple of weeks back. And yeah, it was just an excellent display by the Eagles. Obviously, we talked about Cam Skatteb-Ouch's injury. He, was doing what he's been doing all season early on. He got his touchdown. It looked like it could be a tighter game than it turned out to be. And then he obviously got that really bad injury, which was a shame. Something you didn't mention, though, in talking about the news and the injuries, is obviously we ended up losing Saquon. He's went off as well. I think it was a hamstring injury. So he could be missing for a wee bit of time. So it look like we might have to start passing game again, like we showed we can do if we need to.
Just after he finally breaks off a 65-yard touchdown in a 150-yard game, he gets injured. That's tough timing. That's bad luck. But I want to get your take on it, because we need to touch on it. This tush-push nonsense. At the time to just ban this thing and get it out of the league once and for all. Look, I was all for it. I'll tell you where I mastered. I was all for it, but I can't be doing. They really lost me when they ran it 4 downs in a row, 4 attempts in a row. Fuck that. That's not this game. The fact that they jump offside continually. Hurts fumbled the ball in this one, and they tried to give him no forward progress, but because they blew it dead. It's just making a bit of mockery of the game at this point now. Surely, like, as an Eagles fan, are you thinking that way, or are you still like, nah, it wins us a Super Bowl, keep going?
I mean, it's you find it hard to find an Eagles fan who is going to want it banned when it's been so successful for us. And it's not just about that play itself. It's also if you take that play away from us, it's those third downs. It makes third downs so much easier for us. It takes the pressure off third downs, because we don't need to get the 5 yards. We just need to get it, 3 or 4 yards, knowing that we've got that play up our sleeve. So yeah, I think there might come a time when the league do ban it, or if they don't ban it, they get really strict, on the penalties and stuff that people are calling for. But yeah, I can't say that I'm against it when, And the thing is, every team can try and do it. It's just nobody else seems to be able to do it as well as we do. So get better.
Jumping off a false start in every time.
That bothers me. I don't want to become the new Chiefs, and everybody says how we're cheating everybody and the refs are on our side, and I don't want that to happen. So yeah.
You mean like Super Bowl 52 when you do all those touchdowns, the money touchdowns? Not that I'm better. I'm really not. I'm over it. It's almost 8 years down the line. I'm over it. I promise. I'm over it. Honest.
But I think they'll tighten up on it, and I'm all for that. Do you know what I mean? Like the rules of the game should apply to every play. Yeah, that's fine. But
okay, so as a gridiron crew, we're in agreement. We should ban it and get rid of it. Shoot any space forever. Good man. Right, let's move on, man. Right, we'll try and bar through some more of these games. Get quick, because we've still got loads to get through. Right, Bills Panthers. They on the road. The Bills 149. No surprises there. I guess the size of the victory was, but I guess off a bye, just what you expect. Josh Allen doing what Josh Allen does, and that was it. Any much more to say than that? I don't think we learned much of either of these teams, did we?
Nah.
The Panthers aren't as maybe as good as they were after going on that wee run there, but probably not to be expected anyway. The Ravens, with Snoop Huntley, they won at home 30-16 against the Bears. That was, again, we touched on this last week, must win. We had the monologue, the 3-hour monologue from our pal Mikey on the reason why it was must win for them, and they pulled it at the bag in fair play, and it looks like Lamar's going to be back this week as well. So that's that was someone that's. I think I saw somewhere that the Ravens are now still favourites to win the AFC North.
Mikey's mentioned that to me 2 weeks running, I think he's mentioned how they're actually still favourites. I think he'd said if they'd lost, last week, then they maybe wouldn't be favourites any longer. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me at all for them to go on a run now if they can get all their stars back that have been missing through injury. Then there's no reason they can't go on a winning run and top that division.
Yeah. Next up, Texans home beat the 49ers 26-15. I guess I'm a bit surprised. I guess this one's a sort of 50-50. You never know you're getting with the Texans or the 49ers now, given the way that they're banged up and that Texans O-line is, and the fact that Nico Collins was out as well. But again, I would have said that's another sort of must-win game for the. I don't know if we had this in last week, but I'm pretty sure that's one I would have flagged as a must-win for the Texans. And again, they've managed to pull out the bag. So fair play.
It looked like they were going to blow the Niners out for a while. They stormed into a big lead, and then it just defenses got on top pretty much after that. So yeah, it was a good win for them. Again, like you say, the Niners are really struggling with injuries, so you don't know how much you can read into that. It will be interesting to see how they get on this week.
Yeah. The Bucks dismantle the Saints on the road, 23-3. I don't think we learned anything about any of these other than that the big lad Nelson just running over the top of Spencer Rattler for that pick six. Did you see that? That was a thing of beauty. I watched that a few times. It made me chuckle every single time. That was definitely a highlight play. Again, we'll not touch too much on that because I don't think we learned a thing from either that game. Broncos at home, Mile High, ripped apart the Dallas Cowboys, 44-24. Bo Nix. Again, they're a team I just don't know what to make of. They can kind of almost look to chuck away leads, but I guess when they're going up against at home, they're going up against that Dallas defense and that secondary in particular. It's no real surprise they were putting 44 points up, is it?
No. I thought that was the poorest I've seen Dallas actually. Like you say, Denver. They've got a good record. I'm just not sure if they're going to be able to go all the way because they don't seem to be able to play for a full game. They seem to play in spells, whether it's fourth quarter comebacks or they get out in their lead and then teams claw them back. But I don't really know what to say about them, to be honest.
Nah, that's for the bin as far as I'm concerned. But the Broncos, again, it's a team to definitely watch and are capable of getting on a run and kind of putting quite a few wins together. Although they're 6-2, as I say, but I mean actually going and winning with a lot more confidence, like they're doing this every week. Colts continue. They beat up a really bad Titans team, 38-14. I'm not going to lead in that anymore. Jonathan Taylor's just a machine. Just keep on giving the ball and let him run, and he will score plenty of touchdowns for you. It's great to see him back. He's kind of gave me a wee boost this year about how running backs are seen, because for quite a few years it seemed to be, you'd have a running back who had an amazing year, and then you draft them first overall in your fantasy, and then they just completely go off a cliff. And Jonathan Taylor was that for a couple of years. He had that great season a few years ago, and then with injuries and everything, he just never got back to it. And it's actually great to see him back and looking better than ever. And it just shows that, as a position, there is possibility of longevity in it, and it's not just like you're a one and done, and you're on the scrap heap. So,
but. I'm just wondering whether he's going to be able to outperform Saquon's season, beat his numbers for last year, because I think he must be on track for it so far.
Easily. We'll see. Right, Sunday night game was Packers on the road to the Steelers. Packers win 35-25. Great win. Obviously a better revenge game for Aaron Rodgers, but they kind of fall a bit short on that one. Again, this is a Steelers are flatting to deceive. They've got good wins and then they kind of fall apart. And the Packers, although they've only lost one game this year, obviously they're 5-1-1. there's been a few times I watched them against the Cardinals last week, I think it was, and they didn't look up too much. So that's an impressive win to keep them sort of going and ticking over and get their confidence up and, start rolling into the second half of the season.
Yeah, I'm the same. I've watched them a few times and I've not been that impressed. I was kind of surprised to see where they were at in terms of their record for the season. And yeah, I was probably expecting them to struggle a bit with that one. But maybe they're just heating up as the season goes on. Maybe they're heating up at the right time. So definitely ones to watch.
Yep. And the last game, the Chiefs batter the Commanders at home, 28-7. This game, I've watched a wee bit of it, and it was dull in that first half of 7-7, I think, at the end of the first half. And then I went to bed and then woke up. Not surprised to see, when they're missing Jalen Daniels, quarterback. I wasn't expecting much for the Commanders. I think their season is pretty much done. They don't look the same sort of dynamic team as last year. Mahomes avoided a couple of bad interceptions. He's obviously finished with 299 yards, 3 touchdowns. Kelsey's with 99 yards. Still a wee bit concerned about the run game for the Chiefs. But it looks like they're just starting to build up momentum and just going a better run now. That's in 5-3. So we'll see what happens. They've obviously got a big game coming up this week. We'll touch on a wee bit in 5 or 10 minutes, I'm sure.
Yep.
So any other thoughts on that, mate, before we go on and have a look at some trades or potential trades?
No, like you said, I think Washington looks like they've run the race. It just looks like maybe the injuries, been missing Scary Terry most of the year. He came back in for that game, looked decent, and then re-injured his quad back out. I don't think they're going to do much the rest of the year. But like you say, the Chiefs certainly look like they're starting to find some form. So that's concerning for some of the AFC.
Right, so we'll have a look at some trade deadline predictions, mate, just quickly, just while working the battling on with some stuff. We've touched on a lot of points now already, but for me, I'm really interested to see, because I think there's a clear divide of teams who are buying and there's teams who are selling. You look at like the Dolphins, the Jets, the Bengals, the Browns, the Titans, the Raiders, possibly the Giants. I've got just selling. They're wanting, whether it's to create cap space, turnover. I can see a lot of them. And with that, you're then looking at, okay, well, who's the players that are going to be kind of on the line? Some of the big names that are getting kind of rumoured about is obviously like Trey Hendrickson, the defensive end for the Cincinnati Bengals. He's obviously that holdout, signed a slightly better deal at the start of the season, come back in. Jalen Waddle, that we discussed with Miami Dolphins, is he potentially on the trade block, given their cap hitting the way their seasons went. Breece Hall has been spoke about a lot, the run back for the New York Jets. Reek Willen, the cornerback for Seattle Seahawks. Jacoby Myers, the Raiders. So out of some of these, so one I'm actually going to jump to, which I'm not mentioned there, is the one and only Kirk Chains, or whatever the fuck he's called him. Kirk Cousins. Aye. Kirk Cousins obviously isn't too happy with getting benched in Atlanta. There is a team somewhere up in the north area of the cold part of America who would love to have a quarterback. What do you think? What do you think you see the Vikings going to make a call?
The Vikes. I don't see why not. I mean, he played the best football of his career there. Pretty successful. Maybe not great in playoff football, but regular season he was a perfectly serviceable franchise quarterback. So why not? If they don't think JJ's ready, then I think that they could do worse than bring him back up there. Have JJ sit behind him for another season or so.
Aye, because the other name that kind of came to mind, I popped in when I was thinking about Vikings training for a quarterback, was Jameis Winston. Obviously sitting third behind Jackson Dart and Russell Wilson, and now at the Giants.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. Imagine Jameis just absolutely launching rockets to Justin Jefferson all day long. Okay. He could catch just as many as he probably gets picked, so that could be fun to see.
That could be really fun to see. I mean, yeah, they've definitely, one thing that they've got without a shadow of a doubt is they've got weapons, in the passing game. So, that would be fun for everybody else, if not for the Vikings fans.
So some of these other names to sort of watch out for: Jacoby Myers, wide receiver. I've tried to think of a sort of good fit for him, and I kind of keep on landing the likes of the Ravens or something like that. I can just see them that have been a better fit, just bulking up their wide receiver room. I don't know what you think about that, mate. Trey Hendrickson, as a Pats fan,
I'll take him.
You would take him?
Yeah, I'll take him. I don't know what our cap space is like, but if we can afford that, definitely have him.
Well, that's where I'm looking at the Patriots for it. I know, obviously, we just traded away Kyle Duggar, our safety, and Keon White, our defensive end. We need help there, although we're getting after we're getting after quarterbacks more pressure a lot through the middle with Milton Williams and Christian Barmore. I think Trey Hendrickson and the edge would be brilliant. We're currently sitting at over almost 60 million in cap. We've got the most cap space of the league this year. It just seems a really good fit, but it's just whether they want to kind of go all in or whether it's, there was talk of the Patriots going after Logan Wilson, the linebacker from the Bengals as well. So that's one to watch. Chris Olave, do you think the Saints, this is every year they're always like 50, 60 million in the red, and they need to try and create cap space. They could save a fair bit of cap space by trading Chris Olave. Do you see them doing that, or do you think that's a piece they want to actually keep and try and build around?
I mean, if it was me, if I was the GM there, I'd get rid. I think, you talked about seeing if Tyler Shough. You talked about giving him a run the rest of the season and see if he's their man, and maybe trying to build an offense round about him. So maybe they do want to keep him there, see if he can build up a bit of chemistry with him. But for me, I just think he's not reliable enough. He's definitely a talented footballer, but I would probably move on to him if it was my choice.
Yeah, I think so as well. So there's another couple of players in here. Obviously, there was a trade actually happened, wasn't there? Your Eagles traded for Michael Carter II from the Jets. Didn't I believe that happened sort of yesterday or whatever it is? I might have been dreaming that, but I'm sure I read somewhere they gave up about £5 million to go to the Jets, which kind of says it all. But that's a nice piece in there just to kind of give a wee bit more support in that position. One of the other ones, one to look out for. The interesting ones for me is like Evan Neal for the New York Giants and Braxton Jones, the tackle from the Bears. Now, obviously, the offensive line is always a premium position. Not too many of them get traded. So, the teams I'm sort of looking at, there's Chargers, obviously, given the injuries they've had and the fact that they could still go on a run and Herbert's looking great. Watch out for them, I guess, to buy. And the Texans. That was a big win for them. They might feel they've still in with a chance. Can they kind of shore up that offensive line, give CJ Stroud a wee bit more time before they get him killed? Any thoughts on that one, Kev? Or do you just got to agree with me because, I'm right, as always?
I'm going to bow to your superior knowledge on both of those.
Superior. I've got a superior bullshit knowledge. But I've got to say, I love it. I think the trade deadline is one of the best days of the NFL season. I'm always sitting there, I've always muted notifications on Twitter, but it's always the day I'll fire them on and see actually what comes out of it. Because I don't know how much they were going, but there's a lad on Twitter or X or whatever it is, Ricky Scoops, and he's been tweeting out some stuff today. He's almost guaranteeing that the Patriots will take a running back. There will be a running back going to the Patriots, and he's actually pretty good now. He seems to have a decent record. I forget some of these other ones, but people go out and have a look and see what he's saying. But some of the names on some of the other names, like Mark Andrews, for example, apparently tight end, the Ravens, rumoured to be on the block. Jalen Phillips, the edge for Miami. Arden Key, the edge for the Titans. When you look at a lot of the teams here that I've kind of pulled off, it is like the Giants, the Browns, the Bengals, the Titans, the Jets, the Dolphins, the Saints. You can see what I was saying there. There's teams that are just looking to clear out, and then there's teams that are obviously looking to buy. I'd be very surprised if there's any big name trades, and that's why I was just wanting a kind of couple of minutes for you. What would your reaction be if Tuesday 9 p.m. our time, I think it is, the window slammed shut, as we'd say in football terms, that AJ Brown has just been traded to, say, my New England Patriots? How would you how would you feel about that? Because obviously it has been something that's been doing the rounds. He has been publicly unhappy with the way things are going, and the amount of looks he's been getting, the amount of targets he's been getting. Would you be surprised to see him traded? And what would your thoughts be if he was traded?
I'd be shocked and devastated, Danny. I mean, obviously last season there was a lot of talk about him being unhappy, a lot of talk about him not getting along with Jalen, and that's understandable when you're a wide receiver who's as talented as he is, and you just see Saquon getting the ball handed to him, play after play after play, getting all the plaudits, getting all the limelight. But this year, I mean, in the Super Bowl, we mixed it up. This year, we've been throwing the ball a lot more, mixing it up in offense. So I would be shocked if he was traded now. I think that, well, I'm hoping that he's going to be a lot happier with the way things are playing out this season. And like I said, you'd always be devastated. I don't care who you are. If you've got a wide receiver, a player as talented as him, going to be gutted if he leaves. But at the same time, and Howie we trust, if he thinks it's the right deal for us, we've got other guys there. We've got other weapons. Goddard's having his best season for a long, long time. Devontae Smith's balling. We got Dotson in. He scored a great touchdown at the weekend. So yeah,
you sent Mechie away as well, didn't you? That was part of that Carter trade.
Yeah,
I think that's that. Tell you what, though, mate. Look, the Pats would happily give up a conditional fifth for him, right? And we can make that work. So
you know what?
We'd love him.
You know what Howie does with a conditional fifth, though, right?
No, he's probably turns into fucking All-Pro. Aye.
Like I said, yeah. If he decides it's the right deal, then I'll accept that.
Yeah, so we'll keep an eye on that coming up. It's always an interesting time, and you never know. Maybe a couple of these moves are what actually edge a team into the playoffs, or never know, into the Super Bowl. Right, buddy, Why don't we start to wrap up here? Why don't we have a wee gander? We'll do our usual sort of quick run through predictions for next week. We'll go off and kind of get our beauty sleep because I'm cream crackered and no mistake. So big game tonight. We've got Baltimore at Miami, which again should be an interesting game now. Lamar's back, but Miami are just off the back of that win. Baltimore are 7.5 point favourites. What are you thinking?
Yeah, you got to fancy Baltimore, especially with the man back. Aye, I mean the only spanner in the works there is how good Miami played last week, but again we don't know how much of that was just down to the unpredictability the Falcons. So yeah, I'm going to say Baltimore win that probably by about a score.
I think they win more than that. I think Lamar's got to come back like a man possessed with something to prove and get this Baltimore team sort of back on track. Right, then we get into the Sunday games. It's now back up to 6 o'clock because I think maybe in the US their clocks decided to come back as well, but we're back to the usual time. Chicago at Cincinnati. Chicago are 2.5 point favourites, mate. Wait, who you got winning that one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Chicago. I think Joe Flacco has got a bit of a tune out of them since he's came in, but I believe he's questionable for this week. A lot will depend on whether he plays or not. But I think Chicago will probably just edge it.
I think if Chicago don't win, it's time to just hang it up for Caleb anyway. You know, I've been listening to some Colin Cowherd this week, and he's been running a wee bit two-footed on Caleb. He's the new Baker for him, you know, and
Yeah,
he likes to gab on and, you know, cause clickbait and rage, but you can kind of see points there, and I would expect with that Cincinnati defence and Ben Johnson, like, go rip it up, man. Go and beat this team handily. They've just lost to the Jets. Like, go put your foot in their necks and get rid of them. Next up, the Vikings are at the Lions. That's a cracking game, actually. That should be a good one. 6 o'clock. The Lions are 9.5 point favourites. Do you see an upset there?
no. I think there's every bit 9.5 point favourites, possibly even more.
Well, Aidan Hutchinson is just back off of that contract extension. He's just got somewhere in the region of 45 million a year as well. So I fear for if it's JJ McCarthy in there and quarterback or the corpse of Carson Wentz or whoever's got back there, I'm kind of fearing for their life given that O-line. Carolina are at Green Bay, 13.5 point favourites. I can't. Green Bay are going to do them handily, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, it looks that way. Like I said, I don't know what it is, but when I watch them, I just don't think they look great. But they're beating pretty much all comers, and yeah, you've got to fancy them to beat Carolina in that one.
Micah Parsons, 3.5 sacks, over or under?
Under.
We'll see. The Chargers, I'm going over. I think they'll run through them. Chargers at Tennessee, 9.5 point favourites. Charger, it's hard to see anything but them getting the win there and doing it pretty easily, I'd imagine.
Tennessee, I mean, they've been trying putting up a bit of a fight in some of the games. They've been trying. That's basically it. Yeah, they've been putting in some effort. But yeah, I don't see them getting anything there.
But they tried. Falcons are at New England Patriots. Patriots are 5.5 points favourites. Yeah, mate. Obviously, I'm biased, so I'm only going to see a handy win for the Pats. But are you thinking the same?
I said earlier. I mean, I do expect the Pats to win, but that's one of those ones where I wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way. So I'm going to say, yeah, probably one score either way.
Nice one. I'd have preferred you were a lot more confident in that one. Me and you're going to have words off here for this one.
Yeah.
Right, San Francisco at the New York Giants. They are San Francisco. It's only 2.5 point favourites. Now, what do you think of that one?
Do you know what? I think that it's a big blow losing Skatteb-Ouch, but I think it's more about the mentality of the team than actually the player that they're missing, because they've got Tyrone Tracy there. Is it Singletary that's going to be backing him up now? They've got decent players to come in. I just think it's whether they can pick themselves up after, because it's got to be a big blow for them. Because I mean, let's face it, the Niners have got plenty of injury problems of their own. So I think that the Giants have just got to try and keep that momentum that they were building going, despite that blow that they got last week. And yeah, I could actually see the Giants nick that one.
Yeah, I think I'm with you. I think they might show a bit of resilience there, and I think that defensive line going up against that O-line for the 49ers, I think that's where that one's got to get won. But yeah, well, we will see. Colts are at the Steelers now. That's a tasty game for 6 o'clock. Really interesting to see how this Colts offense go up against the Steelers defense. It's the Steelers defense hasn't they've not performed as well as a lot of people thought they would. Now, obviously, it was just taking Kyle Duggar from us, safety, so got a wee bit of help there. I think Elliott has been on IR for the Steelers there, but Colts are 3.5 points favourites. Are you going with the bookies in that one?
Yeah, I think this is going to be one of the biggest indicators, so far of where the Colts really are. Yeah, you've got to say you would expect them to be bigger favourites than 3.5 points. I think just based on how they've been performing so far this season. Albeit this is probably their biggest test, but yeah, I think the Colts win it. I think the Colts do win it.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
To be honest, again, I'm just kind of going to just keep on saying yeah, and think long and hard out the window. It's just one of these games that I think it really could go either way. It's whatever Pittsburgh decides to show up. They're beating teams that they shouldn't be beating, and then they're losing games that they should win, and they're a bit over the place. The Colts, put my sensible heat back on. Colts win this one because again, they're doing what good teams do. They beat up lesser teams, although the schedule has been pretty easy for them. They're destroying teams, and they're doing it pretty much without getting out of second or third gear. I think they'll run over the top of the Steelers in that game. Another tasty game. Denver are at Houston Texans. Houston are actually favoured by 1.5 points. Now they've got one of the top ranked defenses in the league. Denver obviously on the road there. What do you think of that one? Obviously, Houston come off the back of that win last week, week 8. Who was against 49ers? Do you think they can repeat and make go 2-2?
I do. Do you know what I was actually surprised that you said they were the favourites. I would have expected the bookies to have Denver as favourites, but I expect the Texans to take that one.
Yeah, I guess I do. I think I'll think back to that awesome Denver Giants game the other week there, and Giants have a really good defense, and you can kind of see what trouble they gave Bo Nix and didn't let him kind of get in a rhythm, and for 3 quarters he was non-existent, and I think getting up against this D'Amico Ryans defense is going to be. I think I've got to give them some fits there, and I could see them snatch it. But I do think the 1.5 sounds about right. I think it's going to be a close game, and I would definitely think the over and under is 40.5. I would probably go for the under in that one.
I think they're due to lose a tight game. Obviously, they again against us, they done nothing for 3 quarters, and then came back and stole it, and then the same again against the Giants. But I think they're due. I think to lose a tight game, and I think this is the one because, like you say, that Texans defense is very, very good.
Right, next game at the first late game, 9:05 game, Slapfest, Jacksonville at Vegas. Do you care? I guess.
I say, who cares?
I don't want to alienate any Jackson fans and stuff out there. I know a few and seen the Raiders, but let's face it, these are 2 weird teams. If Jacksonville don't get in there and take care of them, I've got massive questions over Big Trev, whether he's actually going to be a legitimate, or he is a legitimate NFL quarterback, but is he actually, can he make that a leap to become elite? So go there, do it. Go beat up a bad Vegas team.
Yeah.
And they're 2.5 point favourites. Then New Orleans are at the Rams. That should be a dicking. The Rams should just 14.5 point favourites. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I think that's going to be that'll be over by half time. And then The tasty one, 9:25. The Kansas City Chiefs are at the Buffalo Bills. Kansas are 2.5-point favourites on the road. What's their stadium called these days? I don't know. Up in Buffalo. I always forget the name. I'm going to find out. You talk. You tell me what you're thinking. I'm going to find out the name of that.
Yeah, well, this is a massive game, isn't it? Two teams who everybody expects to be there or thereabouts when it comes to the playoffs, and even the Super Bowl. And Kansas had a stuttering start. They seem to be coming good. Buffalo, not got the record that they would have hoped to have at this point. So I think it's a huge game, and I think that Buffalo will win it.
I think Buffalo win this one as well. Kansas they lost to the Chargers, they've lost to the Eagles, did they? And they lost to the Jacksonville Jags. And you look at the rest of the schedule, and yeah, they beat Lions. That was a good win. The rest of them, you're like, okay, it's games they should have won. And then obviously the Commanders game should have been a tough game last week, but when they were the starting quarterback and wide receivers getting out injured, and they're just a banged-up team. I think if Kansas can go into Buffalo and win and do it in a way that you're like, okay, I'm impressed by that, and they'll buy their usual cheating flags everywhere. I'm really pissing off a lot of fan bases this week. But if they can go and do that, then yeah, I think everyone's top of the tree, definitely they're back. But I just think Buffalo, they come back off a bye, getting healthier. Obviously, the loss of Ed Oliver's got to be massive for them. But if they can go in there, Josh Allen does his thing, they take that win. And again, I'm almost saying given the Pats schedule remaining, the Buffalo can't afford to lose too many games. Anything else going forward, when we've got the head-to-head as well. So I do fancy Buffalo going in and win this one. I think it'll be a pretty close game. I think it'll be about 3 points. I think it'll be high scoring as well. That'll be a cracker. That'll definitely be nice.
I'll watch that one.
Yeah, because I'm probably going to miss half these games. I'll tell you that maybe off camera. We'll fit up. I'm getting into hospital for a procedure, shall we say?
All right.
So we'll see how I'm feeling after that one. I maybe be walking funny. That's giving you a clue. Right, Seattle. That's the Sunday night game. Seattle are at Washington. Seattle 2.5-point favourites. Thoughts? Seattle win?
Yeah. We talked about Washington and their troubles. You've got to fancy Seattle to win that.
Darnold to continue doing what he's doing and to rip that one up. And then the last game of the week, we are Monday night. God, Arizona are at Dallas. Dallas are 2.5-point favourites. Yeah. Do you care? There's another one. Do you actually care?
Only 2.5 points. I mean, yeah, it's pretty much a nothing game, really, isn't it? But
Cardinals are off a bye, right enough. So maybe a bit healthier. And
I've said that. I mean, I think is Kyler back this week.
Should be, I think. I guess that's some just to monitor or the weekend.
But for me, I said 3 or 4 weeks back before they lost to the Titans that I've got big question marks over them. And then they did lose to the Titans. So for me, I think as much as Dallas, are struggling to get wins, they're looking really good on offense. Maybe last week aside. So I'm just surprised that it's only 2.5 points.
Yeah. Again, Dallas I find is just a very hard team to kind of predict. The defense is shocking, but Dak plays like an MVP. Yeah. But then Arizona, or God knows what kind of team they actually are as well. I've got no faith in them. I've got no faith in what they do either side of the ball. Yeah. The winner, fair enough. Neither year making the playoffs, in my opinion. Nah. So yeah, it's a bit the only reason you're looking to look at this game is if it had any sort of fantasy implications, I guess. And then I'll certainly not be staying up to watch it either. I'll maybe catch the highlights at some point. But that wraps up our kind of, it's not really a review of the week, but our predictions for the week. Go fire on a 11-team accumulator or whatever it is. Go and get that up. It's guaranteed money. It's as good as money, man. You know, let's face it. We know what we're talking about here. We know our shit. This is the good stuff. Right, buddy, I'm heaving absolute gibberish by now. I think I'm ready for my bed. It's only 9 o'clock. There's a sign of getting old, in it. So I'll love you and leave you, pal. It was an absolute pleasure having a blather through all things sort of week 8, week 9 and trade related. I hope you have a better weekend, buddy, and I'll try and catch up with you some point next week.
Thanks, Danny. Thank you very much. Enjoyed.
No, I loved it, mate. And thanks to everybody that has stuck around and listened to us have a wee bit of laugh and a banter on all things NFL related. Again, just kind of hit us up, follow us on all the social media stuff, and subscribe to the podcast, and keep an eye out all the sort of stuff that we're putting up on social media. We're always looking to expand it, and I'm sure Keith and the rest of the crew have got a lot of good things up their sleeve coming up for later on in the season, so keep an eye out for all that stuff. But yeah, have an amazing sort of week 9 and enjoy all the great football that's got to come up. And cheers, thanks very much.